Sony has been busy this past few months or so in terms of their company partnering with several companies to improve their market positioning. Uh, let's take a look at Sony's pictures, wherein they recently partnered with Netflix to showcase their plethora of libraries and to be able to be seen in Netflix platform. Not only that, they were recently mentioned that they did partner also with another streaming services. In this case, Disney Plus services. So they could showcase one of the popular franchises, the MCU, wherein they were lacking the Spider-Man films. In this case, which Sony owns, is now licensed so that they can showcase it in their streaming services. So not only that, there are other there are other division, the gaming division of Sony, which is Sony PlayStation, is partnering with a likely source, in this case Discord, to integrate the chatting features that Discord have for gamers. Now, according to BBC.com, Sony will integrate, as I mentioned, the popular platform Discord into its PlayStation family by next year, 2021. So the electronics giant has invested, I think, in the north of $100 million, and now holds a minority stake in the company. So for those who are not familiar, Discord is a very popular venue for gamers, and in this case, they have roughly around 140 million gamers each month, mainly uh, playing or active in the PC community as well as in mobile devices. Now, there were rumors or there were reports that Discord were in talks with Microsoft to partner up, and they were mentioning Microsoft buying them in the north of 10 billion. But what happened here? Something changed all of a sudden. Anyway, let's take a closer look. Where's it? There you go. So as mentioned here, they were looking closely into ways to partner with different companies to make their platform more enjoyable in this case, right? So, as mentioned here, so they were looking ways to help enable players worldwide to connect with one another. Now, obviously, Sony hasn't been so popular with gamers in terms of this added feature, focusing more on producing exclusive games in their platform to overtake or gain significant market share over the competitors, in this case Microsoft. Now, obviously, there are different types of genres or types of games that have been popular, not just in playing one individual story driven game versus multiplay multiplayer multiplayer games, in a sense. So obviously, consumers or gamers demands are varied and vast. So obviously, Sony has to take that into account and not neglect their key customers here. What's interesting here, as mentioned, that 2 weeks before, Discord rejected the sum of, oh, I was mistaken, it was $12 billion that was offered by Microsoft to buy their company. Now, obviously, this is a big opportunity for Microsoft. They were making inroads in terms of buying several companies to support their platform, in this case, the gaming division. This is a big missed opportunity for them and a big coup if you're a Sony fan here. And obviously, for Discord as a company, there must be a big reason why they shunned the Microsoft offer here. Now, it was mentioned in the article that they turned down the deal to primarily focus more on the potential of an IPO here. So, meaning to get more investors, more revenue for them to be able to grow their market, in this case, their platform here, which I think is the right way if you're Discord. Now, obviously, if you're Microsoft, it's a big blunder if you're one of the people who are in charge of communicating or trying to acquire the company, and obviously it's a big plus if you're Sony here, since Microsoft's main competitor here is Sony's PlayStation here. And as mentioned, they are investing here in the sum of 100 million just to increase their funding to grow their platform here. And obviously, this goes a long way to showing your consumers or gamers that you're not just thinking of generating revenue in terms of making more games, but making it more an enjoyable ecosystem, being able to communicate not just within the Sony platform, but also in other platforms, whether in PC, Xbox, or even in mobile here. And it was mentioned that according to Sony's management here, that they mentioned they value that the gamer and game streaming community have, obviously, which has been growing significantly. And obviously, with the key features of Discord, which is a free service that allows gamers to chat or talk over video or audio calls, so or even through text. So meaning whether you're playing with your friends, playing a multiplayer game, or just offline, want to have a conversation, obviously with your similar preferences, is a big deal here. And obviously Sony has been apprehensive in terms of supporting cross-play, being able to converse in other platforms. Maybe they're concerned in terms of their core gamers here shifting to a different platform, or maybe buying more consoles in other platforms as well. Anyway, so the point here is people are using different devices. Typically, they have more than one console, some of them even two or even three. So providing that cross-play here is crucial if you're trying to improve the customer satisfaction here, and obviously it will improve the user's experience as a player here. And obviously this will be a big boost for Sony in terms of their reputation, which has been somewhat not so great in terms of social gamers in spec, and they've tremendously lagged behind due to the unwillingness to allow cross-platform. So at least it's the right step for them to be in the be in a positive light here. And obviously multiplayer and social gaming is a big and ever expanding component segment in the gaming industry, and it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And obviously Microsoft is betting on the multiplayer component, and even for PC gamers with several games like Apex Legends and so forth, even Eternal Doom is another that comes to mind. So hopefully Sony can continue improving, providing better service, pro consumer in a sense here. Anyway, next we have is one of the big issues that Amazon is always in regarding antitrust issues with their customers, uh, partners, other sellers, in this case their employees. So another article that was brought up here, according to businessinsider.com, they mentioned that Amazon's drivers are being told to turn off their safety app in order to hit their delivery quotas. Now, the purpose here, obviously, as an Amazon provider, you deliver ordered goods online to deliver to your doorstep. Now, they partnered this, or they contract this to another company that does the deliveries, the logistics part from the warehouse to your doorstep. And obviously, there is a dilemma presented in a sense. They want to hit the quota, but they're given so many limitations in a sense. In this case, safety aspect. So you cannot go too fast, cannot be distracted, can you take breaks, and so forth and so forth. So obviously one has to give here, and obviously if you're an Amazon driver here or a partner here, your focus is to hit the quota so that you can get those incentives, which has a downside to it. But anyway, so question here is, companies are contracted by Amazon, as mentioned, to carry out its delivery operations. So drivers were told by said delivery operations to switch off the app so that it cannot monitor its drivers. It's called the Mentor app. So the problem here, it's impossible, according to a former Amazon driver, that they say it's impossible to fulfill those quotas while also adhering to the safety rules that was mentioned in the app in terms of speeding and being distracted and so forth. So let's see here. Yeah, as I mentioned, so it's impossible to adhere to those requirements. And what's important here to understand here is that the app itself, Mentor, gives them a rating of sorts. So whether you're driving safely, and obviously there's a point system that's provided. So if you reach a certain threshold or points, you're given a reward. So obviously This is a big deal if you're trying to earn an income or a very high income at that. So according to one of the driver, it's called, they mentioned it, it's really a catch 22 situation here. So meaning you're given two choices here. Either you follow the app, okay, so you can deliver it at your own leisure, but you don't get the benefits or you reach your bonuses. On the other hand, if you turn it off, well, you get your bonuses at the expense of the safety, which is, is it the fault of the driver, or is it some unrealistic expectation from the company, in this case Amazon, so that they can satisfy the customer needs, but with also neglecting the safety and concerns of your, partners, in this case the drivers, right? And there have been reports where employees were complaining regarding, the safety in their warehouses. Then you also have drivers who couldn't even take breaks because of, as mentioned, the quotas to deliver. They're in a tight schedule. They couldn't even take a break, a bathroom break to pee and so forth. They had to pee inside a bottle here, which is, unrealistic here. So question is, should Amazon take a closer look in this case and try to identify how to solve this problem other than put blame on your partners here, in this case, you know, chastising them in a sense that, they shouldn't be doing that, but maybe look closely as to, is it realistic to be able to ask this from your partners here. And what's interesting, not only does the app penalize you, there's also glitches, so it's not 100% working at the time, meaning that sometimes it penalizes drivers unfairly, meaning the app monitors your phone distraction, so if you're not concentrating on driving rather than texting and doing other stuff. So in the case here, it was mentioned that if the phone was suddenly jostled or was moved in a sense, whether through no fault of yours, the app would log it as a distraction, so it can penalize you severely. And obviously, according to the spokesperson for Amazon, they mentioned that this behavior is unacceptable and does not adhere to the safety standards of the company. Now, obviously, this is, reasonable if you're Amazon, but again, you have to take a look at the broader spectrum, right? In terms of giving your partners, the drivers here, only one or two choices. You follow it, you lose out in the bonus system, or if you focus on the bonus system, you neglect the safety features. Maybe the requirement in terms of the delivery, number of deliveries per person per day is a bit too high. Maybe need to hire more, or they're trying to save on cost here. Anyway, so hopefully they could find a remedial to alleviate those concerns, because as it keeps on piling, whether you're Apple or in this case Amazon, the antitrust issue that's been going on in you know I think in the United States in terms of the court battle, it's just keep on piling and piling, becoming, unrealistic, becoming monopolistic in terms of, do they need to be regulated? Do they need to be separated in terms of dividing their power in terms of Amazon, the e-commerce platform, Amazon, the web services, Amazon, the streaming services, and so forth. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, they can find. I mean, the solution is so easy, right? That if they were just to reduce the number of requirements, hire more people, obviously that would add more cost. But find a balance rather than put pressure on your employees to go out and perform while the rest, or meaning, the top management is reaping the benefits here and just chastise the rest of your workforce there. Anyway, for our last story, we have here Epic Games, the ongoing battle with one of the tech giants, as mentioned, Apple here. What's interesting here, the article shows how Apple has special relationship, different negotiating tactics in terms of how they dealt with, as mentioned earlier, Epic Games. You have Netflix, Facebook, and even Microsoft. So we'll go into it a little bit one by one. So obviously the ongoing trial between Epic and Apple has been revealing how Apple, handles its business or collaborates with its partners as well as Epic Games here. And what's interesting here is Apple is willing to offer concessions, which is kind of find it surprising. But obviously, if the company has something to leverage, in this case, Netflix has a big vast of libraries of content before Apple TV streaming services was provided. Obviously, they want to get those users to use their platform, right? And then another, you have Microsoft. For those who are Apple loyalists, you would be surprised to hear as early as 22, they were supposed to plan a Microsoft Office version for Mac users or Apple users. Well, obviously that didn't came to be. We'll see what happened there. And obviously the battle with Epic Games, and then you also have with Apple, one of the highly contested companies in recent periods here. Anyway, so just to go over some of the companies, so obviously they were partnering with those companies since they provide the highest grossing revenue for the business in the platform, as well as most downloads for their apps in the App Store here. So they typically engage in negotiations with those companies so that it can maximize its market share and revenue, whether streaming games or even streaming services for watching films and music, whatnot. So let's take a look. First, we have Apple, how it offered compromises to Netflix streaming services. So let's see here. Yeah, okay. So the company here, Netflix, was concerned with regards to what was considered voluntary churn in a sense. So churn meaning instead in terms of the number of Netflix subscribers paying through the App Store, or in case Apple decided to stop subscribing, which is obviously it's a big deal if you're Netflix. You're trying to gain subscription, not just a one-time deal, but an ongoing what do you call this, services. So every month, month in and month out, that you're paying for the services. Obviously, Apple takes a 15 to 30% cut here, which is, does it I won't say offend, but does it turn off the user? You have to pay, add another step here. Is it inviting you to, should I subscribe to this platform or not here? And obviously it mentions they were also planning, because of the problem, they wanted to run a test in a few small markets to see what would happen if it stopped accepting its payment. So meaning, would it have a positive effect if they were to bypass the payment here? Obviously, as the end result here, they decided not to pursue or continue the partnership here. But what's interesting here is Apple was willing, where was it? Apple was willing to make concessions in terms of providing a custom APIs, or application program interface, so that it can promote the app Netflix, so it would be at the top of your choices if you're trying to look for streaming services or even apps in their platform. Whether it's non-public software, so that it would allow to build its system to modify Apple subscription. So obviously Apple is willing to go at some levels, but not all the way. Now, obviously, when it ran its own test and found that when it promoted Netflix inside the App Store, which was, I would say substantial, because it mentions here that it increased 6 to 7%, and it got more attention for Netflix app in the App Store. So meaning, in terms of driving 330,000 downloads, or a 2% conversion rate. Now, whether that's a significant amount, only Netflix can tell us here. But the question here is, was it enough to convince Netflix to stay in their plan? Obviously, that changed. And I think the commission issue is the big stickler here. And you're going to see a repeating pattern here. It's not just Netflix who's complaining, but other big companies here as well. So Apple wants to collect without doing anything. Technically not doing anything, obviously paying for a fee for using their platform. But what's interesting here is they're also competing in the same platform, which was reported with regards to Spotify creating their own music store, then Netflix, streaming services. They're also creating Apple TV or Apple Plus. Is it called Apple Plus? I'm not sure. So they're trying to cannibalize the market, and by prioritizing their own app rather than helping other what do you call this, other companies or other apps within their platform. So obviously they want to maximize their revenue here at the cost of your partners here. Anyway, so eventually Netflix discontinued the subscription through Apple by late 2018. So meaning you have to bypass the Apple's 30% fee, meaning you have to register outside of the Apple ecosystem. Obviously, you have to add another step, which is a hassle, but I think it's a win-win scenario. Obviously, Netflix would prioritize a better experience for their users rather than Apple's prioritizing their platform. So it benefits them not rather than the consumer here. Whichever is the winner here, it's hard to say here. Obviously, the consumer would be the one who's going to lose out if and whenever Netflix decides to leave the platform, which I hope not. And then you have Facebook. They're now in a heated battle, a war of words in a sense. It all stems from way back as early as 2011. So there was a Facebook iPad that came out. I think let's see if we can see it here. Yeah, where was it? Yeah, so they had the Facebook app that came out way back in 2011. It included a web-based game such as Farmville, which is a very popular game. I haven't played it. Apple was willing to bend its rule against app stores in its app, on its app store. So iPhone or iPad users couldn't pay with Facebook's gaming currency, so you still have to use their platform here. Now, obviously, with this issue of the 30% fee, you cannot circumvent it. Obviously, it deteriorated their negotiation or their relationship to the point that, it has reached to its boiling point, which is right now, which is sad to say. But anyway, so going back. So, obviously, you're seeing a common pattern here with regards to Apple's strict rules of not providing a lower tariff in a sense, but obviously this is an ongoing negotiation for companies. Obviously, in the case of Amazon, they were able to get a substantially lower rate, right? From 30 it was just 15% due to obviously the massive followers or subscribers that Amazon have, and obviously Apple wants to have that plethora of subscribers using their platform, so they're willing to give them a cut. Now, obviously, is that the same case for other companies who has no leverage? Well, that's not the case here. And obviously, according to Facebook and Apple, could not find a compromise, which led them to where they are today, which is, word of words, blaming one another, complaining, and so forth. And finally, we have Microsoft, which I was surprised that they were partnering, way back in 2012. And what's interesting that for you Apple user, you could have had access to Microsoft Office way back then, but something changed and you're having a difficult time, using Office apps, whether it's using spreadsheets, PowerPoints, and whatnots. A big opportunity has been missed here, and it's sad to see. Anyway, where was it? Okay. So with regards to Microsoft, so Microsoft was launching their Microsoft Office for iPhone and for your iPads way back in 2012. And Microsoft had only two primary requests here. Now, see if it's unreasonable here and what led to their demise of their relationship. So first, they want Apple to let it redirect its users to the Microsoft website for in-app purchase. Obviously, for the what do you call this? Obviously, to cut out the middleman in a sense, so they can charge whatever fee and they would take all the revenue here without paying the 30% fee. While the second request is it wanted to talk to its senior people in charge in Apple in terms of Mr. Schiller and Q here, so that they can talk about the partnership so that it can find a way to address those concerns and hopefully continue the relationship. But obviously that did not happen. Then in 2014, Microsoft did not end up releasing Office in iPad since then, so which was kind of surprising and kind of sad if you're an Apple user there. And finally, we have the infamous Epic and the battle between Epic and Apple here. Now, obviously, before all of the fighting between the two companies. Fortnite was an unknown game that was doing well, one of the top grossing games or top grossing apps in the app stores here. So obviously, Apple would like to promote or partner and find a way to do cross promotion deals. So one company is promoting the other and the other doing it vice versa here. So let's take a closer look. Okay. There you go. So you can see here that Epic provided demos at Apple launch events highlighting new technology, which is benefiting Apple. Also highlighting Apple gaming features as well as heads up about big events and promotion for Fortnite, right? On the other hand, Apple is willing to promote Epic Games through its Apple App Store as well as through other Apple Media properties such as Apple Music, which is, if you think about it, it's a good partnership for the two, right? When they began. Now, obviously, one of their main issues in this case, Apple wanted to make sure, specifically in the music aspect, wherein they partner with Marshmallow. So they wanted to ensure that there's no curse words in the song. So that was a key component. And then another part is a proposal for cross promotion for Apple's music brand by highlighting it not just in billboards in different cities from New York all the way to Los Angeles, providing digital advertising and different social media platforms. So Apple was at the very beginning very interested in seeing, even to the point of creating a smartphone version for Fortnite. So a lot has changed since way back then, as early as 2015. So, where they are now, it's kind of sad when you think about it. But obviously, things happen. So, is it the fault of those companies or maybe Apple, Mr. Tim Cook? You know, too focused on protecting your own ecosystem, but it's what makes them successful, right? But can that be sustained in the long run? We have to wait and see. But you know, it was a missed opportunity in my opinion regarding if partnering with those companies could have made them a bigger brand than they are today, right? Anyway, well, those are the stories for this week for business update. Anyway, thanks again for watching. If you like to read the full article, the link is in the description below. Come back again Wednesday for more business update. If you enjoy these types of content, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. As always, I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.